Martin Scorsese's new film, Killers of the Flower Moon, depicts the real-life stories, people, and atrocities that took place in the Osage Nation around the 1920s. The film has been heralded as a genuine masterpiece and an honest and brutal telling of a story that should never be forgotten. A lot has been said and written about how accurate both emotionally and historically the film is. But what we're trying to focus on in this video is the responsibility of influence and how one person can affect many. We'll explore this theme of responsibility of influence through 4 characters. The first and perhaps most important character is Molly Burkhart, a member of the Osage Nation that the film revolves around. The second is Ernest Burkhart, played by Leonardo DiCaprio. He is a white American who lives in the Osage Nation and marries Molly. He is the nephew of William Hale, a powerful and high-ranking white member, businessman, and leader in the community, played by Robert De Niro. He is the third character. As the film goes on, we start to realize that genuinely caring about the well-being and prospering of the Osage Nation is just merely a front put on by Hale in order to gain their trust and then exploit it to gain their oil. We soon start to see that his influence is extremely lethal and damaging, but it gets worse once he starts to use his nephew, Ernest, to help him with these heinous acts and murders. As the film starts to progress, Hale, with the help of Ernest, starts gradually poisoning Molly so that Ernest can inherit the rights to her money, oil, and land. The responsibility of influence takes on different roles for each character. In the film, Hale represents the evil and murderous force of the colonizers. Molly represents the Osage Nation and its people. And Ernest represents the choice that the colonizers had to not commit these murders. Ernest represents the opportunity to interfere and not act on the colonial urges of his people. Ernest's responsibility of influence lies in the power he had to derail the evil and murderous plans that his uncle Hale had. His responsibility was to his wife and his family, but he thought that it was to impress and obey his uncle. He had a real opportunity to do the right thing and interfere with his uncle's plans. So with that opportunity came the responsibility to act on it. Hale's responsibility was with his influence. He gained the genuine trust of the Osage Nation, and his responsibility was to honor that trust and use his influence to enrich the Osage Nation, whereas he felt that his responsibility was to exploit them and use the results to enrich his own people. Molly's responsibility was to her people, but it was almost one forced on her because she was under attack. Once Hale started poisoning her and murdering her people, she knew that her entire community could possibly be erased, so she found her responsibility in fighting for her people, and through astounding resilience, she was able to persevere and stand up for her people and seek justice. But we've only mentioned 3 characters so far, so who's the fourth? The fourth character is Scorsese himself. He found his responsibility once he heard about this piece of history. He found that his responsibility was to devote the stage of what could be his last film to a community of people he has no relation to. He had the opportunity to remind people about a valuable piece of history, and so he made himself responsible for doing that. All this just goes to show us how much our perception of what our responsibility is affects our actions. It's important that we are in tune with what is right and wrong so that we can align ourselves with what our role and true responsibility really is. Because as this movie shows us, if we abandon our true responsibility in life, the repercussions can be severe.